I will tell you this about the X situation, okay? And before we get Omar Kelly on, I do want to say this. Uh Obviously, I didn't even think this would happen, to be honest with you. I thought they were kind of drawing the line in the sand. I'm kind of surprised that they did it. But but I did mention this in the last week and a half, and I mentioned it to Omar. I said, well, maybe they do the deal this year, give him a little bit of cash, make him happy, and then trade his ass in the offseason. And notice that they redid the deal where they gave him 700,000 more. Then he's got incentives where it can push to 16. And then they guaranteed the salary for next year, but it's only a $12 million salary, so it's not the end of the world. And anybody's going to guarantee him that. And so I ran this by Omar too, and we'll bring it up with Omar. So again, I'm cynical. I'm sorry. I've been in this business 31 years, and I just, I just think that I think they're going to move him in the offseason now. Now that's what I thought was going to happen. Now I'm more convinced than ever that what they're doing now is they allow him to play under this deal. He gets a little more money. He's happy. He goes out there. He plays hard. Notice the soundbite, okay? Let me play the soundbite for you. This is why I needed the mics to sound good too, because then if I can't play sound bites, listen to X.
I'm just worrying about this year right now, man. I'm taking it 1 year at a time, focus on getting better, helping my team out, the best way to win the game. That's it.
1 year at a time. That's it. Just worried about this year. The rest, he gets back his regular salary next year, which he's not going to be happy with. So we have to revisit this again next year. His salary goes back down to where it was before next year. Why do you think? And I know they promised to revisit if, he plays well and he's healthy and all that stuff, which is smart on their part. But I think they're going to let that burden be carried by somebody else. Okay? And New Orleans is going to try to acquire Aaron Rodgers, so maybe they can acquire X and Aaron Rodgers next year. So all that talk about X going to New Orleans, that's probably not the place he's going to go to. It'll probably be somewhere else because the reports are Aaron Rodgers now will only be in Green Bay for a year and he'll be in New Orleans the following season. So they're not going to acquire X and Aaron Rodgers. They can only acquire Aaron Rodgers when it's all said and done. I think X will get traded next offseason. And let me tell you something. This is actually smart on the Dolphins' part because you pay him off for now. You keep him happy for the season. He's only thinking about this year. He's going to start it up again next year. And so you get him to play hard this year, plays well. He raises the value. You have 2 years. Remember, I've mentioned this several times, right? You're now 2 years removed from the domestic issue. You're now 2 years removed from a knee issue. And his salary is very reasonable. So anybody will pick it up and renegotiate it and give him a little bit more and extend it or whatever the hell they want to do. So I am now more convinced than ever that they resolved it for this year to kind of get through it, and then they'll trade him in the offseason before March when his salary becomes guaranteed. Okay? So, I mean, listen, that's just me. I'm just telling you. Being around this stuff, it's just kind of, it's a business, man. And I think that's what these guys are going to do. And they're probably worried about the long term of this contract and the player with the knee injuries and all of that. So I think that they'll move him in the offseason. So X has to have a good year and he has to stay healthy, obviously. You know what I mean? Because the salary's guaranteed once the league year starts. So if he suffers an injury or whatever, they can get out of that deal. They still set themselves up where they can get out of the deal if he has some kind of a catastrophic knee injury this year and it sets them back. You know what I mean? But I just kind of get the feeling that they're going to end up actually, what's it called? Trading him in the offseason. So we'll see. I will ask Omar and see his thoughts on it all. And we'll see what he thinks. Okay, we're gonna get Omar in a second here. I'm just making sure Omar knows because you got to send links for them to join you, right? And then obviously I had to shut down and restart. And so it becomes a completely new link. So I had to make sure that he knows that it's the new link. So we'll get Omar on and we'll talk a little Miami Dolphins with him. We'll get his thoughts on the craziness going on with the Fins, and we'll get his thoughts on what he thinks is going to end up happening on the long term, because it just kind of looks like this is a Band-Aid for this situation. You know what I mean? And listen, you needed it for this year. And I think they didn't want to trade him this year. They weren't going to get the deal that they wanted. Also, at this point, you're not going to get the deal you wanted, and you're not going to get the best deal for yourself. The best deal for yourself is after he plays the year, and then at the end of the year, you know where everybody stands in the draft, and now you know what these offers are, one versus the other. And it's too important of a player to trade away to make sure you get his value. You know what I mean? So I kind of expected, them to set themselves up at least. And that's the other thing that I love about this front office is they continue to set themselves up, or they at least try in most contracts to set themselves up in a position where they can stay liquid. And that's very important. Instead of taking monster cap hits and suffering, dead cap money and losing cap space and all those kind of things. And then it forces you to mortgage more of your future because you have less space in the present and those kind of things. This is really smart on their part. It keeps them fluid in the process. So I think that that's actually really smart on the Dolphins' part.